Yeah, we always want to address what left, and we graduated some D linemen and linebackers, D-line linebackers on defense, and offensive linemen and wide receivers on offense. So that was really the key part of the recruiting class, and that's where the bulk of our numbers were made up of. So,
Gary?
Chip, I know it's sometimes hard to gauge with Roseville National Championship game. How much do you think that factors into this class in particular? And do a lot of players talk about you guys, what you've done lately?
yeah, I mean, obviously the wins at our back and not in our face when we go out on the road recruiting, but you don't. I mean, I don't know. It's just so different for each individual kid, and if you're better off interviewing the individual and what he chose us for. And some kids may have chose us because of our rise, in the last couple of years and where we're playing. Other kids chose because they bonded well with our players. They bonded well with the coaching staff. They like the environment. They're in-state kids. There's a lot of different factors that go into it, but it doesn't hurt.
AJ?
Coach, are there any athletes you're still in contention for that aren't on this list yet?
I can't talk about anybody else that's on unless you're on the list, brother. You know the rules, AJ.
Back to Rob. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rick.
I was going to ask, second time through as a head coach, did you change anything in your organization of the recruiting and how it was executed?
No, we changed when I took over. We were a lot more thorough in terms of more eyes. It's not just the individual position coach recruiting a player, but we changed that 2 years ago. It's an entire staff, actually, an entire group of people watching tape and making evaluations. We're a lot more thorough and detailed oriented in terms of asking other questions. Once you just make the film evaluation process, that's not even half of the puzzle. What type of person is he? How does he fit in? What does his guidance counselor say about him? What does his math teacher say about him? What does the janitor say about him? Trying to find out everything we can from a background standpoint and in making sure that the people we bring here are what we want to represent this university.
Rob?
Speaking of the linemen, do you have guys identified for positions? Specifically, is there a center maybe among the O-line, and is there tackles versus ends on the defensive line?
No, and I've always been, you get them here and you're, what kid's not what I thought, or this kid's a lot better than I thought, and we want to get them here and try them out, and then when that process of going through the beginning of where we feel they fit the best, because you signed them on February, and then you're going to see some different bodies rolling here when they're rolling here in June, and you're like, wow, he's a little bit bigger than I thought, or you really don't know. But we try to even it out, especially when they're younger players, so that you kind of got one guy at each position, because you don't want to have 5 centers and then they only have 2 guards in a line. So we try to spread that out as much as even as we can, and then it works itself out from there. But we won't know a lot about that until we go through spring practice ourselves, and some of those holes are filled by some other kids.
When you say spread out,